It's the Community Ties Program with Alex Mikas on Tiger Country 97.5 WTGR.
Scott Ward in for Alex Mikas once again this week as he's off on vacation, so I'll be filling in again today and tomorrow for him. It's Community Ties. Great opportunity to speak with nonprofit organizations, find out events going on in the future. And this morning, we are talking with Rhonda Williams with OSU Extension. And good morning, Rhonda. How are you?
Good morning, Scott. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm dry.
That's a good thing. It was a noisy night last night.
It was, and you said you had a little trouble sleeping.
I did. I couldn't get to sleep anyway, and then the storms kept waking me up, so it was a very short, noisy night.
But she's awake, and she's here, and she's ready to go this morning. Again, Rhonda with the OSU Extension Office. Rhonda, you know, rain is a good thing, as one of the country songs sings, for farmers and those folks growing things. With a little heat, these crops and plants are going to start shooting up here soon.
They are. If you are a home gardener, I'm sure within the next couple of weeks you're going to see much progress in the growth of your garden. So along with that comes all the vegetables and things that are growing, and we have to preserve that. A lot of people do for use in the winter when it's so cold and that home canned stuff tastes so good. But in order to do that safely, you need to have your pressure canner dial gauge checked every year so that you can be sure that you're canning properly to keep your family from getting sick. And we can test those dial gauges for you at the Extension office. We just need you to bring in the lid along with the gasket, and we will check that to make sure that your gauge is accurate so you can be as safe as possible in your home food preservation.
Now, you guys do that free of charge?
There is a small charge of $5 for that service. We give you some literature along with your canning lid to help you do a good job with your processing.
And more people canning these days?
They are. It really, for a while, had kind of gone away, and now with the resurgence of local foods and people wanting to know where their food comes from, a lot of people have gotten back to gardening, and so within the last couple of years, it's just boomed, and more people are getting back to that food preservation. As a matter of fact, Diane at our office just completed a couple of classes for people in home food preservation, very well attended, so we know the interest is out there, and it's coming back, which is a good thing.
And as you mentioned, kind of healthier with everything. You could buy all the organic stuff a little more pricier, but boy, if you can do it yourself, take that a little extra time. You said in the winter months, it tastes a lot better sometimes.
It does. That home can, you can't beat home canned sweet corn or frozen homegrown sweet corn. It's just so much better than what you buy in the cans. It tastes like it's just right off the cob. So well worth the effort. And it is a lot of time and effort. So if you're going to go through that expense of buying plants or seeds and all the work and keeping the weeds out, because unfortunately, along with your plants, this rain is also going to set the weeds on the path of growth as well. So there is a lot of work involved in home gardening, but it's also very rewarding.
Now, with you mentioned the gauges, what else can folks what can you help them with the canning process?
We have you can purchase the USDA Food Preservation Guide from our office, and that talks about all types of food preservation, not just canning, but freezing. Some people like to dry foods as well, and if you can meat or you do any of those kind of things, it's all in that USDA guide, so you can get the most current recommendations. What you did 30 years ago probably isn't the process that you're going to use now. Things have changed, and people will argue, well, I've done this way for 30 years and never gotten sick. You just don't want to take that chance. You want to make sure that you're up to date on current methods so that you don't end up making your family ill.
You mentioned if somebody needs a new dial gauge, do you guys have those available?
We do not, but a lot of our local stores have those available, hardware stores, etc. Those kind of places that have canning supplies will have those things for you. And I also caution people, if you're out at garage sales and you're buying a pressure canner, before you use it the first time, please have it checked, because you don't know how long this sat in someone's basement or someone's attic or garage, and if it's even accurate. So if you're buying something at a garage sale, nothing wrong with that, but just have it checked before you use it.
Okay. What else with canning would you like to hit upon this morning?
I think that's about it. If they have any questions about food preservation, just call our office, 937-548-5215. Ask for Diane, and she will do everything she can to answer your questions.
Okay. Well, as we mentioned, we'll see more and more canning coming up here in the next few months, especially with the warmer temperatures, whether it's fruits or vegetables, that will be occurring. Again, Rhonda is busy Less than about 2 months, the Great Darke County Fair is going to be here.
Yes, it is.
We'll talk a little bit about that, but you've got a big event as she drops her head and saying, don't remind me, but you've got a big event going on next week.
Yes, we have a lot of things happening before the fair gets here, but our big event next week is our 4-H camp, and this is a huge program for our kids. We have a lot of kids that are 4-H members. When we ask them as they're aging out of the program, what did you like most about 4-H? They will say camp if they've been to camp. It's a wonderful opportunity for the kids. We have kids that are they just finished their 3rd grade through kids that finished 8th grade. So we've got a wide age range, which is a challenge, but it works very well. We find a lot of times our older youth are helping the younger youth with things, and that's what we're all about, is teaching that leadership and those teamwork skills. So it's fun to sit back and watch that. But this year we have a record number of campers. I've been doing this. This is probably I'm going to say 17th 4-H camp, 16th or 17th. We have 121 campers this year. That's the most we've ever had. So.
Wow. What do you kind of average normal?
Usually we have around 100, somewhere between 85 and 100. So it's a significant increase. And then I have 27 teen counselors who have been working on camp since January. So this isn't something that just happens. We plan this for 6 months. They have to complete 24 hours of training in order to be a counselor. And then they plan all the programs, they do all the activities. I just make sure everything's there and they have what they need. So by the time camp comes, my work is done. My time is spent training the counselors and helping them get things ready. So when camp comes, I'm there to troubleshoot, keep things in order, and make sure things go well. They do all the work. It's really fun to watch those leadership skills, because I have young people who this may be their 3rd or 4th year as a counselor, and it's always great to see how they grow from that first year to the last year. The first year they may hang back, not do a lot, and then by their last year they're up front taking the leadership role, and that's what's cool about the program.
So you're going to have approximately 170 teenagers down to 3rd graders at the camp next week?
Well, 121 plus 27, whatever 27. That is.
Okay, I went two. That's 148.
Yeah, so 150 of Darke County's finest.
Wow.
All eating a meal at the same time in a dining hall, so that echoes.
That room does echo.
Yes,
where is 4-H camp? You better let folks know.
We're in Indian Hills, 4-H camp, which is in Miami County outside of Pleasant Hill. So it's not too far away. So it's good if I forget something. It's within a reasonable distance to run back and get it. So that's a good thing. But it's always a good time. But if everyone would put in a request for good weather, I would appreciate it, because a night like last night with campers can be a challenge. Especially in those cabins, too.
Yes. It gets a little hectic on stormy nights. I can remember the days back in those cabins. Makes you a little scared and wondered if you're going to make it through the night.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then it's also when you have a wet camp and everything gets wet, it's everyone's miserable, because your sleeping bag is damp and your clothes are wet and your shoes are wet, and it never seems to dry out. So if you could put in a good word for dry weather, we would appreciate that very much.
We'll take a break. We're going to come back. I want to find out about some of the things that occur during 4-H camp and a whole lot more as we continue with your Community Ties once again here on this Thursday, 19th day of June. We're talking with Rhonda Williams with the OSU Extension Office right here on Tiger Country, WTGR.
The Community Ties program continues with Alex Mikas on Tiger Country 97.5 WTGR.
Scott Ward in for Alex Mikas once again on Community Ties here on this 19th day of June. Our guest today is Rhonda Williams with OSU Extension. We're talking a little bit about FFA camp.
4-H camp.
Sorry, 4-H camp.
I know nothing about FFA camp.
It's
wow.
4-H camp.
Alex, come back.
Ouch. Ouch. That's a dagger right across the board here. Woo. Okay. Oh, it's 4-H camp next week. 4-H camp. I'm glad I'm not there. I'd be afraid. I'd sleep with one eye open with Rhonda there. What takes place next week?
We have lots of activities. One of the things we like to do at camp is to give kids an opportunity to do things that they might not otherwise have a chance to do at home. Now, that's not a bad thing. It would be like for instance, one of our classes is tie-dyeing, so maybe they've not had that opportunity. So they're going to have a chance to do some tie-dyeing. We offer fishing, so some of the kids may not have the opportunity to go fishing. So it's a chance to do things like that in the outdoors, and they have to unplug. We don't allow cell phones at camp, so they have to unplug from their electronic devices for 4 days and get out in the great outdoors. So I think it's a good opportunity for kids to appreciate
the good old days.
Yes, and and our goal is to wear them out. We want them tired and happy when we send them home. If they sleep all the way home in the car, we've done a good job. We've worn them out. We want them to go home tired and happy. So the other thing that we help do with this, is as I alluded to before, our teen counselors having the opportunity to develop those leadership skills. And a lot of our campers then transition up to be counselors. So it's a good opportunity for us as well to watch some of the older campers to see who might be good counselor material for another year. So it's just the personal growth. And again, I have kids who I see that I've been here long enough now that come to camp as 8 or 9 year olds, and then I've seen them grow up through camp. So that's just a cool experience. When they first come to camp, they might be shy, don't know a lot of people, don't say a lot, and then by the time they're that teen counselor, they're the star. So that's what it's all about.
Is that really the youngest age you have, is 8, 9-year-olds?
At this camp, yes. I do a separate camp in August, which is a day camp, and that's for our Cloverbed kids who have just finished kindergarten through 2nd grade. So that's the 5, 6, 7-year-olds, but that's only one day. They have too much energy for more than one day.
Or at least for you anyway,
for me,
right?
yes. And my teens as well. Wears them out.
And that's a great, with these teenagers and counselors, boy, that's nice to put on a college application and a resume in the future.
It is. It's an awesome thing for employers because they know that these kids have developed some life skills. They're organized, they're responsible. You have someone near and dear to your heart that's going to be there next week as a counselor as well, I believe.
Yes.
And she does a fantastic job. So it's just fun for them, I think, to develop all these life skills: communication, leadership, being able to take charge and organize, and record keeping, responsibility, all of those things that we take with us throughout our lives.
I talked about, we began the show, the fair, 2 weeks or 2 months away, and of course you're busy. All the 4-H kids are busy. FFA kids are busy, and it's going to be here before we know it.
It will be here before we know it, and the fair is a wonderful opportunity for our 4-H members. I consider the fair to be like a huge learning lab. Our 4-H members work hard all year with their projects, so the fair is an opportunity for them to demonstrate what they've learned or to figure out what they need to improve on. So it's kind of like a learning lab skillathon, if you will. The winning is nice, but it's more important that you can look back and say, I can do this now, and I couldn't do this 6 months ago. So it's what you learn along the way. And oftentimes our kids don't appreciate that until they're much older. Then they realize what they learned in the program. So yes, and our 4-H members, most of them are working year-round on projects. So it's a commitment.
A lot of folks will be able to go into the youth building and see a lot of those 4-H projects, of course, non-animal-wise anyway.
Exactly, and that's there. We have about 46 4-H clubs this year and 1,170 members. So we have a significant number of youth involved in the program.
Wow.
So it's good, and we have everything, not just cows and cooking. We have that stereotype. Alex and I have had this conversation many times about how we are considered cows and cooking, but we have so much more than that, over 200 different projects. So it's a good way for kids to get involved in the community. Most of our clubs do a community service project, so it's not always about what 4-H can do for them, but what they can do for the community as well. So it's a nice life lesson, I think, if you will.
And it is. Again, we've got just a few minutes remaining. What would you like to wrap up with this morning?
Well, I'd like to remind people that this is the 100th anniversary of Extension, that we are celebrating our 100th anniversary of the Smith-Lever Act, which created the cooperative extension system back in 1914. And in honor of that anniversary at the fair, OSU Extension Darke County will have a building outside the youth building, and we'll have a display there and some other activities going on periodically, not all the time because we're a very small staff, but we'll have some things going on. And also our staff will be there around the building if you have questions, related to anything, whether it be 4-H or agriculture or family and consumer sciences. We'll do our best to try to answer your questions.
Going to be right in there next to the double doors where you walk in?
I'm not sure. We'll be around in that area somewhere, right around in that lot, yes.
Okay. Rhonda, we appreciate you coming in this morning, again, and talking about canning, but also 4-H camp that is next week. We appreciate it, and hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for having us on the show.
Once again, Rhonda Williams with the OSU Extension Office talking about canning season comes up. Make sure that your dial engaged and your canner is ready to go to be safe for you and your family. As always, on the third Friday of the month, we speak with the Darke County Commissioners. Mike Stiegel, Mike Rhodes, and Diane Delaplane will be in studio, and they would like to answer your question. If you have a question for them, maybe something you've heard on the radio, read in the newspaper, or just want to know something about the county, you can email it dcc975@wtgr.com. We'll get those questions to the commissioners, and they'll be happy to answer them for you tomorrow during our Community Ties program. It's going to wrap up for Community Ties today.